Hello and welcome to the program. I am DEJI. Nigeria's main opposition party is still very bitter over the Supreme Court's verdict on the Imo State governorship election, which saw Hope Uzodinma of the All Progressives Congress APC declared as the duly elected governor of the state. Scores of protesting PDP members took to the streets in about 7 states last week to demand a reversal or review of the Supreme Court's judgment and the reinstatement of Emeka Ihedioha as governor of the Southeast state. In Abuja, the protest was led by the party's national chairman, Uche Secondus, and other members of the National Working Committee. Now, you would recall that Uzodinma originally came fourth in the election, but a 7-member panel of the Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice Tanko Muhammad, gave the unanimous decision that votes from 388 polling units were unlawfully excluded from the final tally of results. And when added to his votes, the APC candidate emerged winner of the March 9, 2019 election. However, the PDP insists that the ruling is an injustice carried out against their party, and the PDP is considering officially filing a motion at the Supreme Court to get, of course, the verdict reversed or reviewed. I'm now being joined on the program to discuss this further by the national spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Kola Ologbondinyo, who joins us from Abuja. So, Ologbondinyo, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Let me start by asking you what exactly this protest that you held, what exactly is it meant to achieve? You don't expect that it's going to force the Supreme Court to change its verdict on the case on Imo?
Well, the protest by the People's Democratic Party was symbolic. First, to seek the attention of the world and Nigerians, as well as the Supreme Court, to the injustice done to the People's Democratic Party in Imo State. It's also symbolic because it's an expression of concerns about the injustices that has pervaded our nation, and about the fact that the APC and its government has misruled our nation.
But look, what exactly do you have against that judgment?
On a daily basis, new facts are emerging on the injustices contained in that judgment. And for instance, I'll give you an instance. The People's Democratic Party and Governor Emeka Ihedioha believe that the 388 polling units which INEC declared invalid was restored in the Supreme Court, whereas the APC and Senator Hope Uzodinma did not call witnesses to speak to the evidence. In the judgment of the Supreme Court in our presidential election tribunal and to the Court of Appeal, the court ruled that for you to prove a case of discrepancy in an election, you must call witnesses from every unit where election held. In the case of Imo State, witnesses were not called to speak.
Well, that would seem to be your position, and of course that of the PDP. But it would appear, for instance, if you looked at the dissenting judgment, for instance, at the Court of Appeal, which of course the Supreme Court eventually upheld, it would seem to be very clear that, Hope Uzodinma actually called witnesses, and even himself was a witness as well.
If you call witnesses,
the court upheld that was sufficient,
DEJI,
including the testimony of the police officer.
DEJI, the Supreme Court in the presidential election petition ruled that for you to prove a case of discrepancies in an election, you must call witnesses from every unit. If you have 388 units,
and this is a case.
And you call,
isn't this?
Let me make this.
Okay,
point
hold
clear.
on, because
let me make.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
If you call witnesses in 28 polling units out of 388, is that substantial enough?
Now, but just before you go on, so that you'd be able to respond to this. In this case, the case, it would appear what the case of Atiku is slightly different from this. In the case of Imo State, we're talking about exclusion. That's the contention of the APC and its candidate. That look, election was conducted, but the results were excluded. So it's quite different from proving discrepancy in a polling unit. But in this case, the argument is that
even if I agree without conceding, we are talking about a situation where INEC, who conducted the election and supervised the election, said there were no results from those 388 units. Election did not hold from those 388 units. So even if you shift off from the position of proving discrepancies, and you are coming to say that, oh, it's a different issue, a different matter from the presidential election.
Unfortunately,
INEC that conducted the election, so election didn't hold in those areas. And I have it on good authority that Barrister Emeka Etiaba, SAN, who cross-examined Hope Uzodinma at the tribunal, did ask Senator Uzodinma to pronounce the results of other parties. And Senator Uzodinma, in his evidence, said that the results were not legible. So in the document that he was holding, the only results that were legible were the one that his own party and he as candidate scored. Does it appeal to reasoning, or does that appeal to reasoning or to logic? It doesn't.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Now, and it's something that I have actually been thinking about. Probably you'd be able to help in answering it. Now, let's even just assume that there was indeed no election in the 388 polling units. Let's assume there was no election there. Now, you look at the total number of registered voters in those polling units based on the number of votes that have come out of that polling. Don't you think INEC should even have in the first place declared the election inconclusive, seeing that, look, the number from that area would have been, definitely would have made a clear difference now between the margin of victory of Ihedioha and, the person who came second.
From what we have said now, if you are in agreement with us in the People's Democratic Party, that what was done to us in Imo State was an injustice.
No, I'm just asking. Hold on now. I have not said I have agreed with you. I'm just asking.
I assume.
But of course, you don't expect the court. You don't expect.
From your own logic and from your own reasoning, the Supreme Court ought not to have declared Opus Odima.
No, but the question is, was that actually pleaded? But was that pleaded in court? No, the question is, was it pleaded in court?
The best that you think the court should have done, from what you have said, from your own analysis, the best of what the court should have done would have been a rerun election.
No, so but what we are saying, what I'm also asking is, can the court give you what you didn't ask for? Because you didn't ask for it.
We're not the challenger now, but the court should have applied logic in taking its decision. That was the point.
Yeah, that's what but the court does not give what is not asked for. That's what I'm saying. So maybe that's quite understandable.
INEC that conducted the election said there were no elections in those areas, and it has no results from the 388 units. Clearly, it says so.
Now, the reason I asked you that question too is because
the question has been that where did the Supreme Court find its own results?
Now, the reason I asked you that question is, look, don't you think you were basically undone by INEC?
Well, for us, we are not considering the issue of INEC in the immediate, because even if we go into the issue of INEC, the electoral laws, the commission itself, requires a total overhauling. And that's all we have been asking President Muhammadu Buhari to do. Our position in the PDP, going into the issue of INEC, is that it should return the bill which the 8th Assembly passed and sent to him. It should return it back to the National Assembly for them to retool it to meet the noonday exigencies of our electoral situations, and return back to him. And since he's not seeking any election, as he has told Nigerians, he should leave a legacy of a clean electoral process by assenting to a new bill that will be presented to him. So we don't want to go into the issue of INEC, because INEC requires a total overhaul. And I don't see, I cannot see this INEC. I cannot see this INEC.
I understand you, because fact is,
conducting an election that will be free, fair, and credible is not possible. And every Nigerian, or majority of Nigerians, realize that.
Because it's actually a question that we just hope INEC will provide an answer to someday. Because you look at Emeka Ihedioha's margin of victory, and you look at the total number of votes now that would have come out of that, those 388 polling units, far higher than his margin of victory, which means the result from that, those polling units now would have made a difference. So what one would have expected INEC to do was to probably declare the election inconclusive and, call for...
Well, INEC declared PDP the winner of the election. And we are aware that even from the lower tribunal to the Court of Appeal, the results which Senator Hope Uzodinma paraded was not accepted, because it has no locus, it has no proof, it has no grant for acceptance.
All right.
So it is strange to us what happened at the Supreme Court. What happened at the Supreme Court is totally strange to us.
But is your party going to file maybe like a motion now before the Supreme Court asking it to reverse itself?
Well, our party is weighing their options, and I'm sure very soon, and very, very soon, we'll come out with our final decision. But what we ask for in the interim is that the Supreme Court, because they are human, and because the Lord Justices are human, and it's possible to err, they should review their judgment and ensure that it is reversed.
All right, Mr. Kola Alogbondino, spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much, DG.
We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue the discussion on this very topic. Stay with us, don't go away.
On DEJI 360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
The Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country.
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that panel.
DEJI 360, providing clarity to issues.